Not good at all, guys. Not good at all. Not good at all, my people. Not good at all. Yes, my people. It is your boy VRD back for another commentated drive. Today's video, I am going to be driving along the ScotRail 5 circle route, I believe it's called. Yeah, the 5 circle route. Gonna take a nice little run, not so little run, between Markinch. You can see Markinch station up there. You see the sign up there? See it up there? Oh, I wasn't meant to do that. Gonna be driving down from Markinch station to Edinburgh Waverley, calling at all stations up to Inverkeithing, and then from Inverkeithing we're going to be running semi-fast to Edinburgh Waverley, calling at only Edinburgh Gateway and Haymarket. So between here and Inverkeithing we're going to be stopping at all stations, those being Kirkcaldy, Kinghorn, Burn Island, Dalgety Bay, and Inverkeithing. Yeah, pronunciations are going to be a madness. Anyway, without further ado, let's jump straight into this. This is just going to be a casual little drive. I'm not going to be doing any reviews or anything, because this route has oh, excuse me, I'm a bit ill, guys, so apologies if my voice sounds a bit dodgy and I'm coughing a lot. I've been absolutely finished. There's some sort of illness going around and I've fallen victim to it, so just warning you guys about that from now. Am I recording? Yeah, as I was saying, this route's been out for quite a while now. I'm a bit late to the party, but obviously I wanted to learn all the speed limits properly before I attempted to make a video on this, which I have now successfully done. Initially it was the, if I can bring the map up, hold on. Yeah, initially I learned the, how did I start? I started with the section between Edinburgh Waverley and Inverkeithing, which is, where's Inverkeithing? Here. I then learned the section between Inverkeithing and Aberdour, then Aberdour all the way up to Markinch, and then finally I learned the western bit of the loop, between Inverkeithing and, what's the station called? Glen Rufus with Thornton. So yeah, I now know the entirety of this route HUD-Less. Although that being said, I am actually going to play with the HUD this time, and I'm going to explain why. I basically want you guys to be able to see what I'm doing with the controls and whatnot. I feel like it's good for you guys to be able to see the power notches and brake steps that I'm using whilst driving along, because it can help you guys get a better understanding of my driving style. So from here onwards I'm going to be using the HUD. I do have a couple of videos recorded where I haven't been using the HUD, but once those are uploaded and the videos onwards from that, the HUD will be in use, but it's only a minimal version of the HUD. You guys will be able to see the current speed limit and the gradient and the notches and brake steps of power and brake that I'm using, but nothing else. So yeah, okay, I think we're ready to get started here. Apologies for the background noise as well. That's actually ridiculous. I've told these lots to stop making noise and I'm not listening. Anyway, we're gonna get set up here in our beautiful ScotRail class 170 Turbo Star. First thing I'm gonna do, and I have just spawned in here, so literally everything is the way you would come across it in your own little run through if you were to spawn into a class 170, excluding the headlights, which I literally just turned on to do the thumbnail. But other than that, everything is the way you would find it if you were to just spawn in. Safety systems on, so these three switches here, you want to key those into the vertical normal positions. Sit in the driver's seat, set our driver reminder appliance, insert the master key, move the F and R switch into the neutral position, reset the AWS self-test sequence. What I like to do when setting up is just start from the left, work your way around to the right, because it's easier. It gives you a little order to follow, a little routine. So gonna begin with a static brake test. So F and R switch goes into forward. Just acknowledge the DSD there. That's a nice little touch that they've added in. The DSD does a little self-test when you go into forward for the first time after keying on. Right, F and R switch into forward. Come look at the brake gauge over here. Select the emergency position on the power brake controller. Observe the reading of 4.5 bar. Down to brake step 3. Observe the reading of 4 bar. Down to brake step 2. About 2.5 bar. Down to brake step 1. 1.5 bar. Release and then quickly back into brake step 1. Just observe the needle begin to fall down towards 0 and then back into brake step 1. Observe it come back up. Then return it to brake step 3. We're also going to test the driver safety device because the driver safety device has been accurately simulated on this. So what I'm going to do, ensuring that the power brake controller is still in the, ensuring that the F and R switch is still in the forward position. Just stand up out of the driver's seat so that the foot pressure is released from the driver safety device pedal. The alarm's gonna go off, and after a few seconds you're gonna get your emergency brake application. So brake cylinder gauge is gonna shoot back up to 4.5 bar. Sit back down, foot pressure is restored, and brake cylinder gauge will fall back down to the brake step 3 reading. Excuse me guys, I'm actually dying. F and R switch can now be returned to neutral. Finally, we're going to test the emergency brake plunger, so just press that in. There's only one of these on the class 170 as far as I'm aware, unless there's a hidden another hidden one somewhere, but I don't think there is. Anyway, push that in, observe the emergency brake reading again, so 4.5 bar, pull it back out, and should return down to 4 bar. So that is the static brake test complete. I'm gonna come over to our, in fact we can get the doors open now. We're gonna be running ridiculously late, but I couldn't care less. We were due out here 9 minutes ago, so that gives you guys a rough idea of how late we're gonna be running. As I was saying, destination display is here. You just use the up and down arrows to select your destination. It was on the correct destination a second ago. Yeah, there we go, Edinburgh Waverley. We're just gonna set up our GSMR, so press the registration button. Press the registration button in the top right, and you can see everything's just done automatically. 1 Lima 28 is our head code, so that works fine, and we can actually check that against our schedule here. Yep, 1 Lima 28, Perth to Edinburgh Waverley. Headlights are already set, like I said, so we're just gonna pop outside and ensure everything looks fine. Yep, bright headlights shining from the non-driver's side, not so bright LED light shining from the driver's side, which is the day running configuration. And destination display is also correct, reading Edinburgh Waverley. Nice little cute 3 car here. Enter the cab again, sit back down. Just gonna have a little look through our cooling pattern here. Kirkcaldy, Kinghorn, Burnt Island, Aberdour, Dalgety Bay, Inverkeithing, and then fast to Edinburgh Gateway, and then skipping out South Gyrel, stopping at Haymarket, and then Edinburgh Waverley finally. So about an hour and 10 minutes or something like that. Yeah. Right. I believe we are now ready to get a move on. Just open the window here. I am aware of the fact that these trains are guard operated in real life, but because there's no realistic guard simulation in Train Sim World, excluding the Glossop line, I'm going to be driving this train DOO, unfortunately. Some people pretend to do the guard thing themselves, like they'll press the buzzer and then act like kiss a guard, sending them a signal. But I'm not going to be doing that. I just find to maintain immersion, the best thing for me to do is just drive DOO. So yeah, sorry guys. Looking for the platform starter signal before I close the doors, but as you guys are aware, there is no platform starter signal here departing from Markinch station in the southbound direction. The signal is actually, I'd say, half a mile down the line, and we can't see it at the moment, so unfortunately we're going to have to assume that it's red until we can see otherwise. So just keeping that in mind. Looking back along the platform, we're going to get our doors closed. Doors are closed and interlocked. Just a final glance ahead to ensure everything's okay. Resetting our DRA, keeping in mind that we have to assume that the next signal is red until we can see otherwise, like I just said. Final look back along the platform. Actually, the second to last look back along the platform. Selecting forward on the F&R switch, and we're going to test out the hill start button. Even though we're on a downward gradient at the moment, I just prefer to test out the hill start button when moving off for the first time. Holding in the hill start, you can see the little notification on the right that I was talking about, so you guys can actually see what I'm doing regarding the controls, which should help hopefully. Releasing the brakes, you can see the brake pressure being held at 1.5 bar because the hill start button's being held in. And on a 170, and correct me if this is not the right way to move off, but I go straight into notch 4, wait for the engines to rev up, release the hill start button, quick look back along the platform as we begin to move off, get that window closed because the engines on this are quite loud and I don't want my voice to be overwhelmed, overcome, whatever the word is. And once we get up to about 12 miles an hour or so, that is where I would normally go into full power. There's actually a little click that you can hear if you listen carefully. That click normally happens at around 12 miles an hour. I believe that's the governor. The governor is a device that basically permits you to take full power. So whenever I hear that, that is when I'll go into notch 7 of power. Gonna do a little running brake test here at 30 miles an hour. So selecting brake step 2, shaving off 20 miles an hour just to ensure that the train is able to brake efficiently. Releasing the brakes, and you can see the little signal coming up here, and I can see that it's a displaying a green aspect, so full steam ahead. Current speed limit is 80 miles an hour. Next station, Kirkcaldy. And I've been dying to take a sip of this latte. I probably should have done that before I started recording because I honestly sound ridiculous right now. But content has to be made, man. I can't be slacking out here. Oh, that is a lot better. That is, I can feel the difference already. Woo! Just acknowledging the driver vigilance device there. And we're now coming up on the junction that splits the east and west sides of the loop. The northern split, there's obviously a northern split and a southern split, and both of those splits have a nice little spur, so that enables you to do a circular operation if you wanted to in free roam mode. I don't think there's any operations like that actually timetabled, but you could do that in free roam, which is probably interesting. Gonna cut back on the power now because we're more or less doing 80 miles an hour. 81 actually, but we're about to enter an upward gradient, so gravity should put us back to below 80 miles an hour in a second. And I'm gonna slowly start to increase the power just to help us maintain 80 miles an hour now, because we are climbing. It's a very steep climb right now. You can see I'm in notch 6, yeah, notch 6 of power, and I'm still losing speed, so I'm gonna go up to full power. The gradient does begin to level out very shortly, so I do need to keep that in mind. I don't want to accidentally exceed 80 miles an hour again. Deary me. Not too far from here, speed limit is going to be going down to 65 miles an hour. So we're going to enter a right hand bend, and the gradient will start to level off. It doesn't completely level off, but it starts to get a lot more shallow than it was before. So as we enter this right hand bend, I believe it is the second overbridge that we pass underneath. That is where we want to make our brake application for the upcoming 65 mile an hour speed limit. So here's the first overbridge. Just shutting off the power, getting ready to get the brake application in. We are speeding ever so slightly, but it's not a major overspeed. So here comes the second bridge, just making a brake step 2 application. Reducing that down to brake step 1. Back up to brake step 2 very briefly, passing beneath the third bridge there, and here's the 65 mile an hour speed limit. So that is how you guys would slow down for that. Not too far out from Kirkcaldy station now. Braking point for Kirkcaldy station is... ooh, I actually can't remember. I believe it's the next overbridge, or the end of this straight section of track actually. Yeah, the end of this straight section of track, I'd say that's where you begin to make your brake application. So brake step 2. You can see there's the overbridge that I was talking about now, but that might actually be a bit too late. You might get away with it, but it would be that's probably a brake step 2 application right up to the stopping position. I normally prefer to do a mixture of brake step 2 and brake step 1 just to be nice and safe. Give me a second, guys, sorry. Right, I'm back. Sorry about that, guys. Just had some business to attend to. So here we are coming into Kirkcaldy station. I'd say aim for about 20 miles an hour into the platform. You're on a downward gradient coming into here, and the 3 carriage stopping position is not too far along the platform at all. It has caught me out several times. I can't actually see it at the moment because of all these people. There it is, hiding behind these people's heads. Just aiming to stop with that in the window there. Just like that. You're not always going to be able to pull it off, but it's not the end of the world. Brake step 3, neutral, door release on the left. And again, we don't have a platform starter signal, but our AWS sunflower indication is blank, so we know that that tells us that the last signal that we passed was displaying a green aspect. Right, let's get a move on. And we're on a downward gradient coming out of Kirkcaldy station here, so no need for the whole start button. Just releasing the brakes straight into notch 4 of power. Final look back along the platform there, get that window closed. Just listening out for that click there. There we go. And up to notch 7. Speed limit was 65 miles an hour, increasing to 75. Next station, Kinghorn. So yeah, I was trying to get at this before, but I didn't really have a lot of time because I was getting a bit overwhelmed with the commentary as I was leaving Markinch. But if anyone drives these in real life, because I certainly don't, I am around them quite a lot. Well, the class 171s. I'm around the class 171s quite a lot, but I've never driven one. So yeah, if anyone is familiar with these, has experience driving these things, feel free to provide me with a bit of info, because I'd love to have a realistic driving experience with one of these. But there's not a lot of information about them available, to be honest. So yeah, we just passed a stadium of some sort. I don't know if that's a football stadium, a rugby stadium, I don't know what that was, don't know what team it belongs to, but it's interesting. A very nice structure. Speed limit will be going down to 65 miles an hour once again. Braking point for that is midway through the right hand bend that is coming up now. So just shutting off power as we get close to that right hand bend. And I'd say about here, just gonna tap on brake step 1 to bring us below 65 miles an hour. And there's the 65 board there, located just before this signal here, so you could use this signal as a form of reference if you want. Perfect. And we're not too far out from Kinghorn station. I'd say at this Morpeth board, get a brake step 2 application in. Beautiful braking point that. It's even got the AWS magnet associated with it, so you can't miss it. You have no excuse for overshooting Kinghorn station in either directions, because in the other direction it's a 30 mile an hour speed limit. So if you overshoot this station anyhow, you are just bad. Stopping position is at the end of the platform as well, so you can have a nice 25 mile an hour entry speed. I'm so sorry about the background noise, guys, honestly. but I'm just jumping between the brake steps there, trying to get that nice accurate stop. Oh, come on. You gotta be kidding me. Anyway, that's close enough. Brake step 3, neutral, door release on the left. Right, green signal, pressing the door close button. All is well. Downward gradient, so no hill start button once again. Forward, release the brakes, waiting for that brake cylinder gauge reading to be more or less at 0, selecting notch 4 of power. Final look back, close that window. Speed limit is okay, so it was 65, went down to 45 just before the platform here at Kinghorn, but I obviously forgot to call it out, and it is now going down to 30 miles an hour in a second. What I'm going to do is use notch 4 to bring us up to 25. I'm then going to shut off power at 25, and the downward gradient is going to slowly bring us up to 30 miles an hour. So you can see the commencement of the 30 mile an hour speed limit there. And as you can imagine, the 30 mile an hour speed limit is something to do with this tunnel. This is Kinghorn tunnel is dodgy. I think there's something wrong with it. I don't know if it's something to do with the walls or what, but trains have to pass through here at 20 or 30 miles an hour. So yeah, there you go. And speed limit's going right back up to 65 miles an hour. Next station is Burn Island. One of the funniest station names I've come across. It's got nothing on that station in Worlds, obviously. The Kling Clang, Clong Clang, Bing Bing Bong, whatever it's called. Yeah, but it's still Burn Island. How do you, what possesses your mind to want to name a station like that? I want to know. Coming up on 65 miles an hour, so I'm just slowly cutting back on the power, and I'm now shutting off. Speed limit goes down to 50 miles an hour, then 40 miles an hour about 500 yards out from the platform at Burnt Island. So there's a nice little trick that I use for the approach into Burnt Island here. You can have a almost perfect approach if you follow my advice that I'm about to give you right now. So what you want to do, you come into this left hand bend here. At the signal, make a brake step 2 application. That is going to bring you down for the 50 limit perfectly. As soon as you enter that 50 zone, reduce your braking force down to brake step 1. So here's the 50 limit coming up now, reducing that down to brake step 1. That's going to bring you down for the 40 limit in good time. And what you want to do is momentarily release your brakes at 25 miles an hour. So there's the commencement of the 40 limit. You can see the platform coming up. Down to 25, so just releasing the brakes momentarily. As soon as you enter the platform, back into brake step 1. And if you keep doing that, I guarantee you one day this final brake step 1 application that I'm in right now, that is going to have you stop perfectly. You just have to keep trying. Okay, bit of brake step 2 there. Well, a lot of brake step 2 actually. Back down to brake step 1, stopped perfectly. So maybe have an entry speed of between 25 and 20 miles an hour. I don't know, just play about with it a bit, and one day you're gonna have a, we call it a one-hit wonder, where you just use one brake application and stop accurately without needing to make any other adjustments of the braking force. So yeah, that is how you enter Burnt Island Station in the southbound direction. Northbound is a different game completely. That is, you're on a downward gradient. Stopping position is not too far along the platform. That requires skill, but it's nice and easy in the southbound direction.